Hey, friends. On today's episode of Let's Build This, I'm going to talk about building resilience in yourself and a couple of the things you can do right now in this weird world we live in to make sure you don't lose your stuff. All right, let's build this. Here's the deal. If you're anything like me, you're probably the person who's been criticized for working too much and for putting your dreams first and hustling every chance you get. Let me guess, you've probably lost friends, family, and maybe more because of this. You got a dream, a vision for something greater than yourself that's been burning in the pit of your stomach. It pushes you forward because if you don't do it, who will? Sound like you? Then listen up. Let's dive in, learn as we go, and get stronger with each and every mistake. It's time to roll up your sleeves and get to work. Let's build this. And now a word from our sponsor, Anchor.fm. Here's the deal. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's one of the easiest ways to create a podcast. Let me start. In my first episode ever, I talked about fear. And fear comes from a lot of places, one of them being able to access technology. But Anchor FM is free. It's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. They'll even distribute it for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a bunch more. And guess what? The coolest thing is they even connect you with sponsors if you want at no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So here's the deal. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Again, go to anchor.fm to get started or search in your app library for anchor.fm. Well, we are now in month six of COVID world. I think I might just start calling it that. You know how there used to be that old movie where it was the end of the world, but it wasn't really the end of the world because it was just the whole world was flooded. It's called Water World. Start calling this COVID world or Corona Nights or Pandemia, right? Just like in Pandora with Avatar. Pandemia, Pandemica, whatever. Doesn't matter. Anyway, it's just me, and that's one of the ways that I deal with getting through each and every day in this new age where COVID is really seems like it's here to stay, and seems like that no matter what we do, whether we get a vaccine or whether we put sports teams in bubbles or whether we work remotely consistently, that it will forever, at least for the foreseeable future, and when I mean foreseeable future, I mean the next 5 years, probably minimum, that we will have to deal with this. That being said, there are ways to keep your sanity, and it's almost imperative to those of you who listen to this, especially if you are a business owner, especially if you are a leader in an organization or management or head of a family. It is imperative for you to find ways to maximize your resilience. And the only way you can do that is to find ways to ensure that your head stays screwed on straight all the time, or as often as it can. And the reason I say that is because as a leader, the most important thing you can do is be consistent. Consistency is key. But in this world, consistency typically means like one day you're good, the next day you're not. The next week you're okay, and then the following few days you're up and down because you don't know, because there's so many unknowns right now, right? And I want you to understand that That's going to happen, and it's going to happen for a while. So what I want to walk through today is, and I'm throwing these in the middle of our other episodes, but I wanted to walk through it, a couple things today on how you can make sure and tools, make sure you stay sane, and the tools that are available to you already without having to do anything else except leverage your own brain power, the tools you have at your fingertips, and the people around you to do that. All right. You heard one of the tactics I use. I am a firm believer that humor, whether good or bad, right? Bad dad jokes versus good dad jokes versus great comedian jokes, doesn't matter. Humor for you as an individual will help. Okay. There's studies out there that show that laughter and humor really help build endorphins and the positive hormones in the brain, even if it's just funny to you. So when I laugh or make fun of things like pandemia or COVID world or Corona dice or whatever, that's not me making light of it. That's me using it as a tool to build humor. And I tend to share this stuff with the teams that I run, and they look at me like they're bad dad jokes. And you know what? It doesn't matter, because it's building those positive endorphins, because even if they're not laughing at the joke and they're laughing at me, it's helping their brain chemistry, okay? So that's tool number one, right? Humor. Use it. It's not hard. It's all over the place. The second thing I really want to talk about with building some resilience and making sure your head's okay is you got to be taking care of your physical body. I know so many people right now who were so reliant on their gym membership or their personal trainer or their group, right? Their group workouts. And even though that stuff is beginning to open up again, they're just like with anything. It's going to be rolling, right? It's going to be oscillating for a while. It's going to be open, then it's going to be closed, and then it's going to be open, and then it's going to be closed, or it's going to open and it's going to be limited. So instead of finding alternative ways to keep your body healthy, people tend to just go, I'm not going to do it. And I will tell you, I was one of those people when this whole thing began. I can't stress to you enough how important it is to think about your physical health. And granted, one of the things that I really work on every week is during the week, especially, I eat as healthy as I can. I mean, it's one of those things where whenever I'm out to eat with friends or we think about what we're going to eat in terms of like food choices, vegetables, fruits, proteins, a little bit of carbs, some fats, just well-balanced diet. I don't go overboard. I'm not a diet nut, but I do keep track of what I'm putting in my body. And the diet helps. And then not only that, like from a workout standpoint, I'm running. And I'm not running every day, but I'm running 3 to 5 times a week. And they're not long, 20, 30 minutes max most of the time. And then some stretching, and then some cool down, and then walks and getting outside and getting outdoors, which leads to the next thing. Get outside. Sunshine is good for the body. Light has been shown to be important in the body's ability to produce things like vitamin D and hormones and positive brain chemicals, etc., 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 etc. Okay? And those things are basic things that we forget about in a world that is pre-COVID. We forget about that stuff because we know that there's a solution there that's going to be a fix. But right now we don't have those things. So in order to build resilience, you have to be sure you're taking care of yourself. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, 2 things. We'll say 2 things. your mind and your soul. Okay. Um, Oftentimes, I am criticized for being too serious and not taking care of my mental well-being and not being healthy mentally, like, or in my soul, because I work so hard at trying to get business off the ground and doing the things I need to do for my business that sometimes I sacrifice my well-being mentally, which means I don't get enough sleep, or I don't do meditation, or like me time, if you want to call it me time, or prayer, or internally focused reflection. Um, there's plenty of tools out there, right? There's binaural tones that you can plug in through things like Spotify, YouTube, wherever. There's breathing exercises you can do. You know, yoga initially was built to be a spiritual form of meditation through connecting body and soul and mind through doing those movements that were very intentional. Okay. Um, Prayer. I don't pray. I'm I pray, but I'm not. I would not say I'm like religious. Um, but those are all things that you have to find time right now, and you have to find time. And I'm speaking to the people out there who, I know you're working 3 times as much as you used to, because guess what? You still have clients, you still have customers, you're working twice as hard to keep them, or 3 times as hard to keep them happy, and you want to be successful because your heart is into it, and you believe in what you're doing, and you believe in what they're doing, and you believe what they stand for. But I promise you, if you don't take care of yourself, you will run out of energy, and that energy will either be physically, emotionally, spiritually. You will run out of energy in one of those 3 areas. You will. It's hitting a wall. Okay? Now, what does this all have to do with resilience and consistency? Hey, resilience is not something where you fight through pain all the time, right? Yeah, you do build muscle and you do build resiliency that way. But it starts with taking care of yourself. Straight up, right? Because if you don't take care of yourself, when that pain hits, where do you think your willpower is going to be? Where do you think your belief system is going to be? Where do you think the world is going to be if people don't take care of themselves? And I'm not saying take care of yourself at the sacrifice of others. No, I'm saying natural law, right? Take care of yourself without hurting others. There's plenty of ways to do it. You can eat well. That's a choice. You can choose to go for a 20-minute walk or a 30-minute run. That's a choice. You can choose to spend 20 minutes closing your eyes, popping in some headphones, and meditating. That's a choice. All this stuff is a choice. You just have to choose to do it. With that, I'm going to keep it short today. And if you have questions on this, let me know. By all means. And if you enjoyed hearing this, take a screenshot of it, share it to your friends, and let them know that you're getting some nuggets out of here. I know that not everything seems great right now, but the one thing you can do is choose to be resilient and take care of yourself. You can do that. And if you do that, I promise you, you will end up on the positive side of this whole thing. So until next time, good luck, and keep building your dream. And we'll talk to you then.